the the time comes when there is something in us which discovers that there is a complete independence. There is no dependence on anything in the world. First, being independent of the objects that are outside, and later you feel you are different, completely different and independent of body, breath, mind, intellect, ego, no, but you are talking. Yes, expression, even internal something says that you are still independent, even if you are expressing. So that I is the false I. That is why it is known as the false I. So there are two parts. One part is the outer expression. All of our actions is the outer format. And what is about inner? It is something like the sunlight. Sunlight does nothing, but in the presence of the sunlight, in the presence of the light, I recognize you, you recognize me. Light has to do nothing. It is just all pervading, it is aware. It is aware. So what happens, the mind, when it goes out, does it remain independent, free from the likes and dislikes, attachment, emotional dependence, and the delusion, or it gets attached? You know the knife. Take one example. Knife. Very sharp knife. Doctor and the criminal both carry the same knife, especially the surgeon. Especially the surgeon also carry a very sharp knife, and a criminal also carry the sharp knife. So when the criminal attacks a person, we say the criminal stabbed the stomach. Can you say the doctor also stabbed the patient and removed all the impurity? Outer actions, outer behavior is caused by the false I. We need to understand it clearly. Can I say the doctor stabbed the patient's stomach and removed all the impurity? So he has also taken something. And the criminal stabbed a person and stole all the belongings. At the external level, our expression feels as if this is the truth. The truth is somewhere else. That real self is somewhere else. And it is because of the delusion. It is because of the wrong notion. It is because of the wrong notion that takes place. That we need to understand. What makes a difference between this criminal and a doctor and a surgeon is the inner state, is the inner attitude of the mind. Outside, Either I can say both are stabbing the stomach in one way, or you can say the surgeon is cutting the stomach. So the inner attitude changes the result of an action. I believe you are getting it. I want to go a little deeper. Inner attitude of the mind, the inner awareness changes the attitude, changes the quality of that action. But outer format of action, outer format will remain the same. Why I teach? I teach for the sake of teaching. That's all. No other reason. No. But what about your maintenance? Yes, as long as I'm able to meet my basic needs, I'm happy. The moment I will not meet, then I will see what I can do, how I can do. But then what is your response as a seeker? What is your response? That will change you. My attitude inside will change me. Your attitude and response will change you. Intellectual knowledge is okay. Where I can talk and I can prove that here is the real self. Oh yes, as long as you are in a session, it will help you to recognize and realize what is after that. How you think and speak and act in your daily life with reference to the real self or with reference to that makes the difference. That is why because it is very subtler, and that is why the journey becomes challenging. And that is why I ask you, do you find the changes in your life? Do you find more calmness and the restfulness during the day? Do you find that your inner response is there? There is no inner reaction. Reactions are very subtle. Reactions are sometimes very lovely. I love you, and the other guy says, no, I want to remain as a friend of yours. The responses are very sweet. So it's a refusal. It's a refusal. But the response is sweet with a rejection. Why we are trying to understand. It is not what the intellect has understood, but if the intellect has made the mind to realize that knowledge, that is going to change it. That is going to change you. And that change is transformation. That change is not simply a change. Other changes come and go. Other changes come and go. 20 years. Almost after 20 years, Ashok rejoined. Just last year, or since the last year. So he already had those impressions that he learned. He used to come to my house and I used to talk for about sometime hours together. I told you, my job is just to do gossiping, here and there, everywhere. For 20 years, everything, it appeared as if disappeared, dissolved in his mind. He was constantly meeting me and he said, I'm busy. I'm actually busy. I said, very good. People have to be busy. And once he returned, his sense of acceptance in the mind is also dependent on the past learning. So Krishna, the great master, says, you learn one lesson, it cannot be wasted. So it cannot be wasted, then I have already learned. I will not learn from you. That is another arrogance. That is not going to help us. That is the water space in the pot space. I'm coming to the same metaphor in a different way. So I'm not saying that I taught him, but I could see yesterday also I asked my friend to visit, who lives nearby, very nearby. And he has been my schoolmate. He said, he is responding. He gets up, and he wants to listen. Even then, he is not able to speak. So he told me that he feels as if he is normal. He wants to come out and speak. It is only maybe because of this learning, or you can simply say that he lives into that awareness. Not in a water space, but in a pot space. And this can only happen when the goal of life is clear 24/7. Otherwise, you will have hundreds of excuses in your life, millions of excuses. Goal of human life is to improve, not prove. What we prove? I have 5 reasons. That's why I'm with you. I have 10 reasons not to be with you. You need not to prove. I'm making a very small things big. I need to improve from yesterday to today. I have to experience this sense of independence on which I was dependent yesterday. Outer life continues as it is. No worries. Outer life has to continue. Outer life will have challenges, will have problems, will have, all those issues. It has to have it. But do I have that level of independence? That is what the master says. That takes us to the next level of evolution. You can also say in a different way. Don't prove, but see, did I improve? Don't involve yourself. Involve means likes and dislikes. We have already covered on Mondays and Thursdays session. Do you see the evolution to the next level? You live at the next level of awareness. Do you live in passion or dispassion? 3 keys. Do you want to prove or improve? Do you want to involve or evolve? Do you want a passion? You have a passion, you have 1 million excuses. You have a dispassion, you have acceptance all the moment, at every moment in your life. Acceptance of this existence. You accept passion, And that acceptance of the passion comes from the water space, and that water space is an individuality. It is fake, it is false. Individuality, I have repeated hundreds of times. I thought, plus body, mind, intellect, ego, outer, and add the outer situation. What is the outer situation of the word? That is the cosmic delusion. Last time we discussed part space and the water space. So they are at the micro level. Part space, the space will remain as it is. The real self will remain as it is. Superimposed is the water space, and that is where we think, speak, and act, and we have a certain ideas, habit. I am very busy, so I cannot attend your session. Where is your priority? Where is your priority? Now, I understand what you are talking, that there is a real self. But now, at present, my real self is the world outside. That is why I am actually busy. Where is your priority? No, you don't think that I should earn and live? Who said? Did I say anything not to do that? Eastern wisdom, no master says. No, I did not understand. My inner attitude, my mental awareness. That is where I started giving an example of a doctor and a criminal. They both stab. Now I'm using a wrong word for a right reason. They both stab the stomach. Surgeon also stab it, if I use the word. Look at it, my friends. Journey is so beautiful. So, criminal stabs, we used to differentiate. Outer action is the same. They both carry the same knife. Very sharp knife. They both apply the same knife on the stomach. Outer format appears same, but your inner state of the consciousness is totally different. Certain attitude. You don't go and ask criminal, oh, you want to stab me? First, let me know how many years of experience you have. But if you want a surgery, you always ask, no, doctor that is going to do the surgery is highly experienced. He has 20 years of experience. I'm telling you, outer expression is exactly the same. Outer instruments is the same. What difference it makes. Here comes my friend Ashok. Yes, simply listen. Yes, that is very good. So that makes a difference in your life. Any point of time, in any situation, in any relationship, whether you have a problem or not, you live into that state of consciousness. That is why I said what is my priority of the life? Now, can I become famous by following this journey? What is your priority? Simple question. Do you want to live in peace and happiness all the time, 24/7? That is your priority? Or you are still seeking being famous to be happy? So, to be happy, what is conditional? To be famous. And to discover happiness, what is the condition? No condition. The moment you have any condition, any excuse, that is ignorance. That is ignorance. But my intellect does not recognize that ignorance. It is very subtle. It is so subtle that my intellect convinces me that I am into that state with stress, with anxiety, with duality, with conflict, with problems. That is another level. This is what he is going to talk about. You have already understood part space, water space. Individuality is the water space and the real self is the part space. And the space inside the part and the space outside is the supreme self. We have already understood it. Why we are not changing? Did you not understand? All of yours IQ is much greater than mine. I don't want IQ. I want a common sense. I simply want a common sense. So at a micro level, that reality is known as the real self. At the macro level, that the same reality is known as the God. We don't want to go into the religion. That is known as the God. God of the name and the form, yes. Whether you say, if you say God is Jesus, yes, it is the same. But we want to go beyond this real self and the supreme self. What is that? It is pure consciousness. That is the journey of the self-discovery. It takes time. That is the journey. So if you say that Jesus is God, Krishna is God, any God in God is this. I don't want to go deeper into that aspect, otherwise priest of all the religions is not going to spare. We'll understand at a different level. That is the teaching. So you see the water space and the cloud space. Why it is known as the cloud space? The way the water is poured into the part space, how you can put the water unless you have a space? So same way you have the infinite space where the cloud also superimposes the same way, the individuality here, and into that pure infinite consciousness. That, it is something like what we say. I was reading something, macro and micro level, microeconomics and macroeconomics. So it is the micro level, that individuality, that ignorance and that delusion keeps on haunting us days after days, unless we continue the journey and we realize and reach to that one independent entity in me, that I am not dependent on anything. You have that sense of awareness. What about if I have a pain? Yes, you are still independent of the pain. What about the pleasure? You are independent of the pleasure. What happened? You are independent of the accident. Accident took place to the body, mind felt. Not to you. You cannot meet that accident. That conviction is there with us. Conviction is based on the reality. Conviction cannot be based on the false. Understand, very subtle nature. They're going to, because this master goes a very deeper and just explains everything so clear. Conviction is based on the truth. You cannot have a conviction on the false. So when you say I am fully busy, what does it mean? Do you have a conviction? Why you are fully busy? You are fully busy because you are seeking some pleasure which you have superimposed as peace and happiness. You have left the conviction. The same intellect which says that I am the real self, I have understood, the same intellect creates a doubt. I am the real self, but there is other real self also. What is that other real self? Wealth, position. It is that. Do you see this? Last point I will make it, it will be Krishna, or I would say many masters. Many masters, I would say all, directly or indirectly, they say they are the teacher of the world. Why? Is it not arrogance? Arrogance for those who are non-seekers. No, but what is behind it? What is the masses? The entire humanity is suffering from three major diseases as explained in the Gita. I am just taking up the Gita for reference. First disease, likes and dislikes. Because of the likes and dislikes, I have an emotional dependence, and that emotional dependence causes the sorrow and the suffering. And sorrow and the suffering is caused by the delusion. Every human being since birth suffers from these three diseases. That is why every teacher in the Eastern wisdom is a teacher of the world. Not because he is arrogant. Are you getting it? Tell me, who does not suffer from these three diseases? Tell me. No, many Indians also raise objections. How come you can be a world teacher? No, we never say it. We are making you understand the entire humanity suffers from these three diseases, which is common. And we have a solution, so we are a teacher. Giving you those thoughts and ideas and understanding so that we can move further with the teaching of this master. We are real self means we are the consciousness, and this consciousness is independent. No, sometimes I also become busy. But my busyness is just to complete one task. I'm meeting between 8 to 9 Arizona time. So if one says that, can you meet me at 8? I said no. I'm busy. But that busyness has nothing to do with emotional dependence. You have to use the same language. You have to express the same thing. But intent, the inner mental state is totally free. I am busy yet free. You are absolutely busy but not free. That is the problem. Why that is the problem? Because of the three diseases. Why these three diseases? Because of this metaphor which explains what it explains. that I am not internally free because I have taken for granted this individuality is me. So this individuality is me, it means I also pick up the same thing in the world outside. One beautiful girl told me, we were talking. She invited me for a lunch, and then he said, she was asking me to explain about likes and dislikes. So I explained to her, and she said it makes a sense. And then she made something, she cooked something. And it was the naturally I said, no, I like this dish, in order to appreciate her. After all, you are offering food, so I should be connect, contribute, and celebrate. So I keep that idea. Whether I have a preference for a particular food or not, whatever the food comes on the table, I eat it. So I said, no, I appreciate. Oh, you said I like it. This is so Krishna, our one God, likes butter. And in his childhood, he used to steal the butter from the young girls. So you see that, it's a journey. So as we move further, this master is going to bring very subtler aspect in our personality, in our attitude, in our thought process, to see, to check, to validate whether I have 100% conviction in the intellect because of understanding that I am the real self, or I claim that I have a conviction, but I don't have. So when I don't have, then I'm busy. Then I have certain other priorities in my life. Ashok, you are good. Let us close your eyes. Close your eyes, and we will go for the journey. Eyes are closed. Gently you are aware that eyes are closed. Now pay attention. I'm just giving you a translating that metaphor into a practice, into a realization. Can I say in the presence of awareness, the neck joint? In the presence of awareness, you experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. In the presence of awareness, you know the space. What is left? The space is awareness, and awareness is the space. You have separated from the pot space and the water space. How? That you need to explore. So when we feel we have achieved, there comes a big objection. I have to explore it. Again, in the presence, now I'm seeing, you see that being comfortable. I have changed the entire instructions of being comfortable. It just came to my mind. In the presence of awareness, shoulder joints, in the presence of awareness, You know the shoulder joint and you experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. It's very subtle, but it's subtle. It does not mean that you cannot understand. My instruction: in the presence of the sun, in the presence of the light, I see you. Even if my eyes are 100% correct and light is not there, I cannot see you. So the same thing. I am saying, in the light of awareness, I know shoulder joint. In the light of awareness, I experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. In the light of awareness, I see and I am aware of the space. Then the Master says, who is this I? Is that I important or awareness? You have already reached there. Intellectually, it is very easy. I know it. So if our IQ is higher, we will say, I have realized, what a big deal. He talks the same thing again and again. Can you talk the same thing? You know what we say? Walk the talk and talk the walk. The entire body, in the light of awareness, I am aware of the body. In the light of awareness, I experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness. In the light of awareness, I am aware of the space. Why? How? It's just the name and the form. Name and the form do not exist. What do you mean? Yes, it does not exist. 50 grams of gold biscuit. Another 50 gram that consists of a necklace, a bracelet, a ring, etc., etc. You weigh both, you have 3 jewelries, both still weighs 50 grams. The weight does not increase because of the name and the form. What is that weight? Delusion, ignorance. Consciousness remains the same. Being carefree in the light of awareness, or I can say in the presence of awareness, thoughts are coming and going. You're separating. This is the power of discernment. In the presence of awareness, thoughts are coming and going. Recognition they are unwanted and unwelcome, and that is what the lane wants. Who is doing this job? Whether you say I thought is doing the job, or whether you say it is the intellect is doing the job, it is the same thing. I'm still different. But who is recognizing that too is the intellect with an I thought. When you say I become aware of the lane one, it is an I thought. It does not exist anywhere inside you. That subtle journey takes time. So the I thought recognizes here is a lane 1. The same I thought is now in the lane 2, and that perceives as an observer, and observed is the lane 1. Observer is the lane 2. What is the result? What do you say? I did nothing. What happens to the light? In the presence of the light, we see the world outside, the world of name in the form. What happens to the light? Nothing happens to the light. So that observer recognizes nothing happens to me. Result? I'm already in calmness and peace. When? Here and now. With whom? With everyone. So the I thought cannot live without I-ness. So that I-ness pulls and pushes you. Now I should do something. Again you become the observer. That is also an unwanted thought. The statement is so subtle that you are independent of it. Expensive. Any thought is unwanted. Related to I, you, he, she, gadgets, application, event, incident. That is the key. That is what this master is going to point out when we meet in the following sessions. You see, it's a knowledge, recognition. Our all sense organs are open, receptive to receive their respective objects when we wake up. Eyes are open and you are aware of the room and the articles. Your ears are open so you hear the noise and the sound. Fan is moving so the skin is ready to feel. It does not make a planning. If these sense organs, which are so limited in nature, is always open to the knowledge of the world outside, how dare you think that real self, which is the pure consciousness, is not ready to receive what is real and false? That takes time. So if the I thought is troubling you, no, let us do something. Oh, I am doing the mantra. Now bring it to the breath so that you are ready to improve, not prove. But again, the intellect says, what I look at the breath. And that is why you will recall I say, look at the breath. Means you are aware of the breath. That is how I divide it into pointed awareness. First point of awareness, you know recognize the breath. Second point of awareness, the breath is moving in and out. Third point of awareness, because of the movement you have a sensation. Fourth point of awareness, because there is a space, that's why there is a movement. Yes, you're right, because there is a space and that's why there is a movement. So when you are aware of the space, simultaneously with awareness of the moving breath in the sensation without any change, that very space, cognition of that space, brings us near to the subjective reality. That is why we do the breath mindfulness. We don't focus it. There is nothing to speak, but still I speak to keep your mind engaged so that we can move from engagement to enlightenment. That is the only job we do. Breath, you hear the breath, the mind picks up the memory, it recognizes, here is the breath that is going, that is a movement. And the same mind creates the name in the form. What is the name in the form? The nostrils. Lungs. See that? Associate with the entire body. And we forget it. I'm only saying the breath. I thought says no. This breath with the body, with the sensation. Yesterday I had some challenges with the breathing, or the last year, or just now. No, nothing of that sort. When I say I'm aware of you, do I do anything to you? So in that awareness, no, that awareness is an observer. Knower, seer is looking at the breath, feeling the breath, sensation of the breath, no change, and the space where the breath is moving. Cause of the breath to move is the space. So that consciousness is independent of anything and everything we may recognize now. We should recognize all the time, in all the locations, in all the relations. I can tell you, you have no time to think what you have, what you possess, what you are. And there is no restriction. We are exploring the independence of this consciousness. So, either being comfortable, so what I said, how I proved to your intellect to have the cognition of independence of that consciousness. If you recall in your mind, in the presence of awareness, you know the body. In the presence of the awareness, you know the experience in the body. In the presence of the same awareness, you are aware of the space within. Space is awareness, and awareness is space. Why we did it? We want to dissolve the wrong notion that awareness is only outside, not inside. It is everywhere. That is what is being comfortable. And the same way, being carefree, we see that light of awareness is permeating. In the lane 1, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. In the lane 2 is an observer. In the lane 3, calmness in the peace. You did nothing. And then, that is breath awareness. Through the awareness of the breath, if we reach to the consciousness, that will definitely help us. And through the breath awareness, we have a benefit like byproduct. That too is good for the material survival, but we are too far. We are too far from the reality. Our instructions are the same. That is why I gave an example of a surgeon and a criminal. Both uses the knife. One is known as stabbing, another is known as surgery. Awareness, you know, in that awareness there is a thought. Or there is a thought, then awareness. You explore that for yourself. There is no awareness, you cannot recognize any thought. There is no awareness in deep sleep. That is what the pot space is. Water space. The rest is water space. Being comfortable, being carefree, breath awareness, sensation, comfort, and steadiness. My explanation, yeah, in all my explanation also belongs to that water space. Why? This is going to stop in few minutes. The consciousness continues to exist. In the presence of that awareness, I am awareness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences now. How are you, Stephen?
Good, sir. Thank you. A lot to contemplate and reflect on in that, in today's lesson. There was, during the lesson, there was just so much that started to go through my mind with what you were saying. Without getting deep into it, you're using the analogy between the criminal and the surgeon, and all I kept thinking about is the intention behind it, that one is to do good and the other one is to do bad. Now, how does that apply to, I am and the real self? And then it just started leading into these thoughts of how the world, the people around us, society, our past impressions of our current lifetime and previous lifetimes all support the false I. And we're now here learning the principles of Eastern wisdom through the masters, yourself, and the people on this call, that the false self exists only if we give it the power. And we've been going through these 3 years of learning, what is truly the false self. And we've had these glimpses and moments of the real self. and just taking everything that you said, just started putting these puzzle pieces
Yeah.
together in today's piece to me is that, you know, it's time to stop giving the power to that false self and really start recognizing, you know, you talk about the hour of meditation that we have. What do we do with the other 23 hours of the day? You know, and that is, well, we give too much power to the false self, and then that distracts us from it. So we're always in peace. I'm in peace when I'm sleeping. I'm in peace when
Beautiful.
I'm with the real self. And so it just this all just started to, during that lesson, that this is all starting to come together. So what resonates the most with me in this was, you talk about proving, which is ego. You talked about improving, which is self-inquiry. So
Yes.
this separation has become so apparent, um, especially today. So it's like almost this epiphany. So thank you for that. My meditation was just shut down.
Beautiful.
It was just very quiet, and I'm
So,
somewhat excited, but I don't have any likes and dislikes. So
from
all
the
good.
position of a water space, I always stab myself. From the position of the real self, and I still use the knife, I am doing a surgery. That is what, is the summary of what you, every moment, every moment I do this surgery of the entire world, including the projection of my mind. But does that happen? I need a lot of effort. Sunlight makes a lot of effort to lighten this room and me and you. What effort the sunlight has to do? So that gap has to be bridged. How? Moving from ignorance to wisdom. Thank you, Stephen, sharing beautiful ways. And how are you, Brandy?
Morning, I'm good, thank you. So yeah, I've been stabbing myself a lot. My main one's been in overdrive, and it was a nugget today to hear you say, like, where does it exist? You know, where do these thoughts exist? So when I was in my meditation, I was like, it's not anywhere. You know, like put my blinker on and go over 3 lanes, done with it.
Beautiful. That's a, oh, I will not talk about the email that you sent, but you have stabbed yourself. Sometimes I appears to be tough, but that is the truth in our life, and that is where we miss. Beautiful way, the once I recognize I'm stabbing myself, who wants to stab himself? But I don't recognize, so I'm doing it. In one way, that is what Brandy said. In other way, that is what uh, Stephen expressed. Yeah, how are you, Terry? Let us go to the Terry first. We have a show. We have a show. That's very good. Terry, you go ahead. Yeah.
I did. I didn't want to come out.
Very good.
I felt like I was right on the edge of being able to discern the non-I.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it a thought, but
Yeah.
so I was then I started getting annoyed that I had to come out.
That is also very good. Yes, that is the right expression, that I get annoyed. Mind, why don't you stop this? Why you are stabbing yourself? Stop this. I want to live into that state.
I was almost there, but I wasn't quite there, and I was like, ah.
Good. Beautiful. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm good. Sir, the entire day it's like that the mind was thinking about something and keep worrying about it. And the moment I say that why I'm worrying, the thing actually getting dissolved. It was not there, and again it brings it back. And I said that why I have to worry, and it goes away.
I love this, and I want to have an analogy. Can the light be ever worried? In whose presence I can see everything in this room? On the reverse side of it, I get worried if my computer is working fine to give a lesson. See that? See, I'm just giving an analogy. These analogies will be revealed in your mind. I'm waiting for that from everyone. I'm saying, oh, this is what it is, and then you have a smile on your face. Oh, that's good. Finished. We are there. So it is not me who will authenticate, it is you who will validate. How are you? Anesthesia. Then we will. Ashok cannot talk because he had that problem, but then we will ask and share some experiences. Yes, anesthesia. Ashok, you never leave the session. Every session is yours. Yes, anesthesia.
Thank you. My meditation was very deep and I had a lot of thoughts, but they were separated. I just absorbed and watched them. And only today I was hit by this epiphany about practice, that it's very important to practice in real life these principles, because only this way I will get this direct knowledge. I understood this triangle. I think it's something like you always know that you need to practice to know how to do something, but today it was like you really need to practice to know how to do it. Yes, and every day is beautiful.
That's
possibility
good.
To practice.
Anesthesia at this young age, when everything is beautiful, the future life will be definitely the best. That is what happens. So the younger generation do not pick up this journey. Beautiful, and you rightly said, whether what is the practice? Practice is I am aware of the light in which everything is manifesting. I am that light. Ashok, can we, if anybody is listening, can you open it? He cannot say anything because, yes, कौन है वो? शिवा? शिव? आकांक्षा है?
Yes.
अरे बेटी, my small daughter, तू ठीक ठाक है अशोक?
हाँ, अभी he is improving. Doctor said he is improving.
हाँ.
Day by day.
Day by day. Ashok understands what we are saying, what we are talking. He is fully conscious.
He is listening to you.
तुम ठीक हो प्रभु, बिल्कुल. You are first class. Body will improve. Body deteriorate and body become healthy. Health and the sickness are the two traits of the body. They will continue since the time of our birth and until death. Nobody can remain healthy since birth until death. Very good.
You want to say something? No?
Namaste, Sena.
Namaste.
You got it.
Thank
There's
you,
a
sir.
cognitive that ability. Thank you. We will meet again Monday. Monday आकांक्षा फिर लगाना.
Yes, yes.
और क्या करना कि अपना